can call it either one. Any questions? Okay, so sometimes the pattern will be hard to find, so we always want to check our answer. Okay, so we're going to check our answer by plugging in the first few terms of the series and making sure it matches up with this. If it doesn't match up, then we found the wrong pattern. Okay, so when in doubt, work backwards and check your answer. So we're going to take the sum that I found in my answer. Okay, and so now I'm going to plug in the first few terms. I'm going to plug in the first few n-values to find the first few terms of the series. So I have negative 1 to the 0 times e to the 4th times x plus 4 to 0 over 0 factorial plus negative 1 to the 1 times e to the 4th times x plus 4 to the 1 over 1 factorial plus negative 1 squared times e to the 4th times x plus 4 squared over 2 factorial, and so on. And then we just simplify that, okay? So we get, these are raised to the 0 power, so that's just 1. 0 factorial is 1. We have e to the 4th, okay, minus e to the 4th times x plus 4 over 1 factorial plus e to the 4th times x plus 4 squared over 2 factorial, and so on. And does that match up with this? Yes. So this right here, I'll just call this star. Okay? This matches up with this, that means I found the right pattern. Okay? If it didn't match up with that, then that means my pattern is incorrect. So this matches star. Okay? So we're good. Any questions?
How does that function, if x equals e to the negative x, in the series that we found, how do they relate?
Okay, so that's actually a good question because I forgot to mention something. So in this packet, okay, I'm not asking you to find the interval of convergence. Sometimes when they ask you to find the Taylor series, they will also ask you to find the interval of convergence. I'm not going to ask it here just because we've already worked on that and it's the same exact thing. So here, if I wanted to find the interval of convergence, I just do ratio tests and then check the endpoints. Okay? So you all know how to do that. Okay? So I'm not going to go over that again. So now to answer your question, okay, if we actually find the interval of convergence, then for those x values on that interval, okay, we can express e to the negative x by the series. Okay, so it's the same thing. Okay, so any value we plug in for x here, if I plug in x equals 2, okay, if I found the sum of that series, that should equal e to the negative 2. Okay, if 2 is in the interval of convergence. Any other questions? Yes.
So if the series diverges and it tells us nothing about f of x.
Right, then it does, then e to the negative x cannot be expressed as that series. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so let's find the Taylor series of sine x about x equals 0. Again, if we have a Taylor series centered about x equals 0, we also call that the Maclaurin series. Okay, so the series we find here can be called a power series, it can be called a Taylor series, or it can be called a Maclaurin series. Okay? So here, since it's centered around 0, we could do a shortcut, except we can't because we don't know what sine x is represented as a power series. Okay, so here we have to apply the method that we just did. First find the derivatives. So we always write out the original function first. Okay, and so now we find the derivatives. So what is f prime? Cosine x. F double prime. A little more excitement in the room, please. You guys are dead today. What's the derivative of negative sine x? That's what you're giving me? What's the fourth derivative? Sorry, I didn't hear it. What?
Sine.
Thank you. Sine x and the fifth derivative? I'm sorry, I can't hear anything.
Cosine.
I still can't hear anything.
Cosine.
You learned a menu today.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop at the fifth derivative, okay? So as John asked before, how many derivatives do we have to take, okay? And that just, you have to use your own judgment. So here, if I just went up to the third derivative, when we find the pattern later, it's going to be a bit hard. So that's why I went up to the fifth derivative. And so if you didn't know that, that's okay. You could have just done that, and then later on realized you don't have enough to find the pattern. Let's just take two more, okay? Or you can just always take that many just to be safe. So now we evaluate, okay, at the center, which is x equals 0. Okay, so I plug in 0, I have sine 0, and that is?
0.
Thank you. F prime of 0 is cosine 0. 1. F double prime of 0 is negative sine 0. 0. F triple prime of 0 is negative cosine 0.
Negative 1.
Can you guys not say it like your cat just died? The fourth derivative of 0? 0. And the fifth derivative of 0? Okay, 1. Okay, so you all learned from, do you all know this notation with the parentheses? It's just whatever number is in parentheses, that means the number derivative, so this is a fourth derivative. Okay, so we all learned in Math 140 that when we take the derivative of sine or cosine, it just goes in the cycle of 4, right? So these 4 will just repeat, that's why this is sine, cosine. The next two values will just be negative sine, negative cosine. You all remember that? Well, learned something new today that you should have learned last semester, but that's okay. So f and its derivatives will just repeat in the cycle of 4, right? Sine, cosine, negative cosine, and then it repeats. Sine, cosine, negative cosine. It just goes on forever in cycle 4. Okay? So that means when we evaluate 0, it should also be in a cycle of 4, 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 1, 0, negative 1, on forever. Questions? Okay, so now let's plug in. So we have the formula for Taylor series or Maclaurin series. F of x equals f of a. In this case, a is 0. Okay, so I have f of 0. Plus f prime of 0 over 1 factorial times x plus f double prime of 0 over 2 factorial times x squared plus f triple prime of 0 over 3 factorial times x to the third. And so on. Okay, and so again, for this formula, you have to memorize 3 things. One is that we're taking the derivative and evaluating at its center, okay? We're also multiplying by x to some number, and then we're dividing by a factorial. So those are the 3 things that you should remember, okay? And the ends always match up. So here I have the second derivative, so n equals 2. Here I have x raised to the 2. And here I have 2 factorial.